Hey Matt, it's Anna with Clemson 24/7. Just how would you assess the first team offensive line performance on Saturday, both in run blocking and pass protection?
First off, the thing I would say is that Virginia is a really good opponent, and they presented us some challenges as far as scheme goes. Um, in specific, really the way they lined up with their defensive front made it hard to identify. But with that being said, I think that we performed pretty well down the stretch. And there's definitely plays that we want to have back. Personally, I gave up a pressure. I know that there's some plays that other guys want to have back, like Jackson. But, all in all, I think we played well. And I think that, that might not be the sentiment for a lot of people. And that might not be what PFF says. But the way we graded and looking back at the tape, I think that we played well. We were physical. We traded off twists very well in the passing game. So there's a lot to improve upon, but I think it was a good performance coming into this week.
Hey, Matt. This is Larry Williams with TigerIllustrated.com. I guess, first of all, what did PFF say?
I would just say that you can't believe everything you read on PFF. I know that that's kind of become popular over the past couple of years for grading and for people to kind of assess certain players and their performances, but there's a lot more that goes into it. Especially for an offensive line perspective, it's a little bit harder to accurately assess certain things when it comes to the offensive line. So that's all.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I guess as a group, the first team that's playing together for the first time, do you guys view that challenge like, third game of the year as not just from the mental part, which you just sort of talked about, but also I guess the combination of the mental challenge and the physical challenge they presented, maybe something y'all needed at this juncture of the season, and feel like you perform well just in that context?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's always important to be challenged, and you can correct your mistakes. If you never have any challenges or adversity, then you might have a false sense of security as to how good you're performing. So it's always important to be challenged. And as you mentioned, the mental challenge that came with Virginia, I think, is what I would harp upon the most, just because of it presented communication challenges and other things that we might not have seen or had happened to us otherwise. So that was a good check for us going forward, especially into this week against Miami. Physically, I think we did well. I think that, like I said, it goes back to the communication early on where we might have missed some things. But from a physicality standpoint, I was proud of the way the group played. I think that we reset the line of scrimmage. Like I said, I know the statistics might not say so, but there's a lot more that goes into that. So I think it's a great barometer moving forward, and we're looking forward to this week.
Hey, Matt, this is Will Vandervoort from the Clemson Insider. Curious if some of the things that, what people are saying and stuff is a lot of what defenses are also doing with you guys. Like, it seems like they're really loading up to just make, not let Travis beat them in the running game. Is that kind of the way you see it too?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one play I look back to from Saturday was down on the goal line, and they had a ton of guys in the box, and Travis got stuffed on the goal line, but we didn't have enough to block him. So that's just a scheme thing that, like I said, it goes into these outside factors that people don't understand when it comes back to the statistics. It doesn't tell the whole story. So, when you have a guy like Travis Etienne in the backfield, teams are going to pack the box, especially now. We don't have Justin Ross, so our experience on the outside with the receivers isn't as much, even though Amari has played super well this season. So they're going to try to take that away from Travis and make us throw and catch on the outside.
Hey Matt, it's Anna again. What have you seen early on from Miami? I know they have a few big name guys up front. I don't know how much film you've watched of them, but just what stands out early on?
Super talented. That's what I would say. Obviously, their defensive end opted out to go on to the next level, but talented group. I think it's good for college football that Miami is seeing some success. I think it's generates excitement with the fans to see the traditional powerhouses do well. So I know it's going to be a highly anticipated matchup this weekend.
Matt, this is Larry Williams again. Coach Swinney has said a couple times y'all needed some. I guess Saturday was a dose of Robitussin for you guys. What does that look like? I guess behind those walls when you get a dose of Robitussin as a team.
Yeah, well, the way he would describe that is sometimes you need the medicine that doesn't taste very good, which I'm sure he told you guys, but sometimes it's not fun to be checked. I think, like I said, you can have a false sense of security of how good you are or the level at which you're playing. So it, you got to swallow your pride a little bit, but that's how you improve. And it takes a mature player to be able to take some adversity or challenges and improve upon that the next week. So, I think we have a mature group as a team and guys that are true competitors, and they're not going to let a bad game or a bad play stop them from improving and putting together a nice game. So I think, like he says, sometimes it's needed and sometimes you need it when you don't want it. But it is important for us to grow as a team to make a championship run.
With you having been around here for a while, is it sort of your experience or observation that you guys that the program does perform better when it's edgier and when it's coming off a dose of that medicine, I guess?
I think one of the things that we try to really emphasize is keeping that edge, whether we're challenged or not. We play to a standard, not an opponent, and whether we win by 60 or 2, it shouldn't change the attitude we bring to practice the next week. So that's something that we've really tried to instill in the culture and just creating our own competitiveness. We play against the best players in practice every day. So we shouldn't need motivation from what some might say to be a lackluster performance the week before to come out to practice ready to play. And it shouldn't take a game on college game day to do that either. So I think it really is just some intrinsic motivation on our part.
Matt,
Any other
how
questions for
valuable?
Matt?
Yeah, just how valuable is a game like Virginia when you, like you said, mentally they really did stress you, challenge you, and do some things that you hadn't seen before, especially early on in the season. How does that help you guys going forward, I guess?
I think it just defines the things that we need to improve upon. There were certain aspects from an offensive line view where we might have thought it was 4 down, but some of the other guys thought it was 3 down, or other things of that nature. So moving forward, that shows us that we need to do a better job of very distinctly communicating, and it's always better to over-communicate than under-communicate. So that was really something that we talked about at halftime, and I think we made a great adjustment coming into the second half, and moving forward, the same thing. So just really taking the time to identify, and it's a good balance, because one of the things we've also been stressing on as an offense this season is pushing the tempo. We've done a tremendous job of that thus far, but we can't let the communication get lost in all of that tempo. So there's definitely a balance, and as we move forward, I think we'll find that balance.
Thank you.
Matt, this is Larry Williams again. I think on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball, Virginia showed you guys a lot that they hadn't shown previously. I guess with your offense, a lot of their looks that you've talked about. Have y'all just gotten used to that, teams sort of holding back and sort of throwing the kitchen sink at you guys with stuff that they hadn't really shown a lot of on film?
Yeah, I think that's a great observation. I think if you look at the film versus Duke, they didn't necessarily show some of the things. Speaking about Virginia in particular, they're going to be a run-stopping team. They're going to bring blitzes. They're going to gap you out. So they did that, but they kind of tweaked some things, like I said, to make it harder on us. Now, moving forward, and for a lot of the teams, it comes down to what we talk about all the time. It's just we're Clemson, and we have a target on our back, and we're everyone's biggest game. Everybody's circling us on their schedule. So we have to have that attitude and know that we're going to get everyone's best. And I think we wouldn't want it any other way, to be honest. It's you take a sense of pride in that people want to play you the best they can, and hopefully we can still come out with a victory, and that makes it even more worthwhile. But yeah, absolutely. I think that there's teams that might try to do some things schematically to try to match our talent level, especially on the outside. We have some guys that can flat out run and they have size. And so some other teams that might not be able to match up with that physically will try to do some things and pressure the quarterback to try to even up that matchup a little bit. But it is something that you see, and you have to just kind of prepare for it. Our staff does an unbelievable job of looking back years at games and studying tendencies and things that they've done before, and to try to give us a great opportunity to perform well on Saturday.